The chamber fell silent as Admiral Turk entered. His blue skin looked almost gray under the harsh light. The 7 council members stared at him with anxious eyes, some blinking, others motionless. "Please explain the signal again," said Elder Vox, the most senior member of the Galactic Federation Council. Admiral Turk touched the control panel. A hologram appeared, showing an energy wave moving through space. "Our deep space station detected this 3 days ago. It's moving toward a populated star system." "Is it a natural phenomenon?" Counselor Jim asked, tapping his clawed fingers on the table. "No, the pattern was too regular, too perfect." Turk zoomed in on the image. It was a ship, a very large ship. The room filled with whispers. Ships this large hadn't been built since the Great War, 500 years ago. Dr. Rita stepped forward. She was small for her kind, and her skin color changed with her emotions. Right now, she was a pale yellow, the color of anxiety. "We've studied the signal pattern," she said. "It doesn't match anything in our records." She paused, looking at the elders. "What doesn't match?" Elder Vox asked. "The old stories don't match. Very old stories about the Silent Ones." The room went cold. Everyone knew the stories. The Silent Ones, or humanity, appeared briefly in galactic history. They built quickly, explored widely, and then disappeared. All that was left were ruins and warnings. Elder Vox slowly rose to his feet. "Dr. Rita, show the council what you have found in the archives." Dr. Rita nodded and placed his hand on the control panel. The hologram shifted and an ancient recording appeared. The image was blurry, but it was clear that a strange alien being, was speaking to the camera. "This is Admiral James Cooper of the Earth Fleet," the human said, his voice strange through the translator. "If you are seeing this, our plan has failed. Earth may be gone, or silent, but Harbinger is still out there. If you find it, do not, I repeat, attempt to destroy it. You cannot send a recall code instead. Call it home." The recording ended. The council members looked at each other. "This recording is 10,000 years old," Dr. Rita said. "It's from before the disappearance of humanity. And do you believe this signal is their ship?" The pioneer asked Counselor Jim. "The energy signature is consistent with our limited records of human technology," Dr. Rita said. "And the course it was heading in, towards what had once been human territory." Admiral Turk stepped forward again. "We have a choice. We can attempt destruction, but the humans' warnings suggest failure. We can ignore it and pass by, or hope." He saw Dr. Rita. "Or we can do as they ask," she finished. "Call it home." The 3 Elder Vox members blinked slowly. "Do you have the recall code?" Dr. Rita nodded. It had been saved with a warning, a simple signal pattern, but very specific. The council members looked at each other, exchanging the silent communication typical of species that have worked together for centuries. Finally, Elder Vox spoke. "Humans are dangerous and unpredictable, but they are also master builders. What if we built a ship that could last 10,000 years? He paused for a moment, then said, "I need to look into this further before I can make a decision." Admiral Turk said the ship would arrive at the Outer Sea colony within 15 days. "We don't have much time, so we must act quickly." Elder Vox looked around the table. Who would vote to send the recall code? One by one, the council members raised their hands. Some reluctant. Only Counselor Jim kept her clawed hand down. "Let's not wake the better ones who are asleep," she said quietly. 3 days later, Admiral Turk stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Stellar Guardian. Around him, his crew worked at their station. The ship was the pride of the fleet, the Galactic Federation Council's newest and most powerful guardian. But Turk saw the numbers on the main screen and wondered if even his powerful ship was safe. His second-in-command, Officer Vrel, reported that the human ship was changing course. It was responding to the recall code. "Show me," he ordered Turk. The main screen changed to show the vastness of space. At first, Turk saw nothing. Then a tiny dot appeared, growing larger with each passing moment. "Zoom in," he ordered. The image zoomed in and gasps rang out from the bridge. The human ship was massive, at least 3 times the size of the Star Guardian. Its dark hull absorbed light rather than reflecting it, and strange markings covered its surface, giving it a faint blue glow. "That can't be," Officer Vrel whispered. "There's no way a ship that size could still be functioning after 10,000 years. "Scan," Turk ordered. Dr. Lita, who had joined the mission at the Council's request, worked quickly at her station. She reported that the energy readings were off the chart. The ship was powered by something our sensors couldn't identify. Then she stopped, her skin pale with shock. "Admiral, we're detecting life signs." "What kind?" Turk asked, his heart pounding. "Humanoid. There are 5 clear signs in what appears to be a command center." Rita looked up, eyes wide. "Admiral, They are human. Somehow they're still alive. Silence fell on the bridge. The silent ones were thought to be extinct. Their homeworld perished in fire and ice long ago. But their ship was there, and within it was a living human. Sending out, the communications officer said suddenly. Admiral Turk straightened his uniform and ordered, "Put it on the screen." The image of the great ship vanished, and a human face appeared. It was oddly shaped, with a flat face, small eyes and a head of hair. His skin was pale, as if it had never seen sunlight. "This is Captain Jack Morgan of the Earthship Harbinger," the human said, his voice deep and rough. "You have initiated recall protocol. Please identify yourself." Turk stepped forward. "I am Admiral Turk of the Galactic Federation Council fleet. In our archives we have found your recall code, along with a warning to use if your ship is discovered." The human Captain Morgan narrowed his eyes. "Archives? What year is it?" 158-7 in the Earth lunar calendar, Rita answered, coming into view. The human's face betrayed no emotion, but something had changed in his eyes. "That can't be. Our mission is only 30 years old, Doctor." His skin flushed red with shock and anxiety. "Captain Morgan, our records indicate that your ship left Earth 10,000 years ago, shortly after the collapse of human civilization. As far as we know, your species became extinct thousands of years ago." Now the human's features certainly changed. His eyes widened, his mouth slightly open. For a moment he said nothing. It then turned to speak to someone off-screen. When the human turned, his expression became cold again. "I need confirmation. Send me all historical records about Earth and humanity, and then ask Turk. Then we can talk," Captain Morgan said. "Either you're lying, or there's been some serious error in our mission. Either way," the human approached the screen. "We want answers too, and so do you." The communication died. Silence fell on the bridge again. "What do we do now?" the Admiral asked Officer Turk stared at the massive human ship on the screen. "I'll send you the recording. I'll arrange a meeting," he said, turning to his crew. "The silent ones have returned, and we are prepared for anything. History tells us that when the humans arrive, everything changes." Rita's skin turned a deep blue, the color of fear. "There's one more thing you need to know, Admiral. We're analyzing the hull. There are scars, recent damage patterns." "What are you talking about, Doctor?" "We're saying the ship has been in combat. A recent battle." She saw a screen where a huge human ship appeared. "Admiral, whatever the portent, it was no ordinary ship. It was a weapon, and it had been fighting something in the darkness." Captain Jack Morgan stood alone in his room, staring at a data screen. His face was pale in the blue light. 10,000 years. The numbers made no sense, but the evidence was in the historical records the aliens had sent back. Earth had not vanished. It had vanished. The planet still existed, but humanity was gone. Great cities had turned to dust, oceans had risen and sunk again, and forests had covered what had once been countries. A knock brought him out of his thoughts. "Come in," he said. The door slid open. Mira came in, her dark hair pulled back tightly. As the ship's weapons specialist, she was always ready for battle. "Everyone else is waiting in the command room," she said. Jack nodded but didn't move. "Really?" Mira asked, her voice softer than usual. "Earth?" "Something like that." Jack pointed to the screen. The records showed that climate change was occurring more drastically and rapidly than anyone had anticipated. The last human settlement vanished 8,000 years ago. Mira's face hardened. "That means 5 of us. Maybe." Adam was still reviewing the records. At the name, the ship's AI spoke over the room's speaker. "Captain, analysis complete." The alien recordings seemed genuine. Jack sighed. "Let's not keep the others waiting." In the command room, the remaining 3 crew members sat around a large table. Tom, the chief engineer, had a rough hand but a gentle voice. Ellie, the xenobiologist, had short blonde hair and sharp eyes that didn't miss a thing. Ray, the radio operator, was the youngest, not even 30 when he went into cryosleep. 30 years ago. By their calculations, it was 10,000 years ago. By everyone else's calculations, it was 10,000 years ago. "Adam, show us what you found," Jack said, sitting down with Mira. The center of the table lit up with a hologram showing the timeline. "About a year after we left, Earth's climate became unstable," Adam explained. "The process accelerated beyond the model's prediction. By the time the first impacts were felt, it was too late for a mass evacuation." "They didn't come after us?" Ray asked. "No, the Harbinger is the only ship of its kind. Earth's remaining resources were being used for survival, not space travel." Ellie leaned forward. "What happened to the colonies? Mars? Europa?" "The colony on Mars lasted another 1,000 years before collapsing. The underwater city on Europa had maintained communication with Earth the longest, but eventually it stopped. Tom pounded his fist on the table. Our job was to find them a new home. That's what this mission was all about, right? Mira asked quietly. Then why arm yourself with the most powerful weapon ever made? The room fell silent. It was a question everyone had had from the beginning. The Harbinger had enough firepower to destroy a small satellite. Its hull was constructed from materials designed to withstand direct hits from energy weapons that had not yet been invented when the ship left Earth. Captain Adams spoke again. The alien fleet had requested a meeting. Admiral Turk had requested to lead a small team aboard. Jack looked around at his fellow humans, the last humans in the galaxy. What do you think? He asked. We need information, Ellie said. They seem to have it. They might be lying, Mira pointed out. Maybe this is all a ploy. To what end? Tom asked. If they wanted to destroy us, why wake us up in the first place? Ray had been silent but finally spoke. A warning message. A recall code was found with the warning. Who was it from? Jack nodded. I'd like to know too. I'll look into it. He looked up at the ceiling, where Adam's sensors were monitoring. Tell him to meet with Admiral Turk. Standard security protocol for Docking Bay 3. Yes, Captain. Adam replied. Admiral Turk tried to hide his nervousness as the shuttle approached the large human ship. Rita sat next to him, her skin hues of yellow and green, a mixture of curiosity and alarm. Remember, Turk told his small team, this human race is in cryosleep. It's only been 30 years since we left Earth. We don't know we're the last of the species. Unless they're lying, Security Chief Kral said, checking his scanners for the 5th time. Those big reptilian officers believed nothing they didn't understand, and the human ships refused to understand. It appears their shock was genuine, Lee said, and their ship's AI. Adam had requested a full historical archive. He couldn't ask for that if he already knew what had happened. The shuttle slowed as it approached a large opening in the side of the Harbinger. The lights came on, and they were led into a vast docking bay. Stepping onto the deck, Turk saw 5 small figures waiting for him. They look very fragile, Dr. Rita whispered. Turk agreed. They were smaller than most of the Council's species, and had no natural armor or claws, but the way they stood, especially the woman with the weapon at her hip, made him wary. The shuttle door opened, and Turk led his team out. The air in the bay was clean, but there was a strange smell, a faint scent of chemicals his body couldn't recognize. Admiral Turk, the human from before, stepped forward. Captain Jack Morgan, welcome aboard the Harbinger. Turk put his hand to his heart, and gave the universal salute of peace. Thank you for your welcome, Captain. The humans led them down a long corridor. The ship was massive, the ceiling 3 times Turk's height. Everything was built to last. No ornamentation, only function. They entered what appeared to be a conference room. A large table stood in the center, surrounded by chairs of various sizes, some clearly made for non-human physique. You were expecting an alien visitor, Dr. Rita said. Noticing the human woman being introduced, Mira gave a small invisible smile. We were explorers. Meeting aliens was part of our mission, said Kral, the security chief. And yet you have weapons powerful enough to destroy an entire fleet. The air became tense. Captain Morgan gestured to the seats. Let's all be seated. I think we all have some questions. Once everyone was seated, the captain leaned forward. You said you found a recall code with a warning attached. I would like to know who left the warning and when. Dr. Rita replied. The recording was made by Admiral James Cooper. That was approximately 970 years ago, shortly after you left Earth. The humans looked at each other. James Cooper is in charge of Earth's space defense, Jack said slowly. He gave us his orders direct. The warning said not to try to destroy the ship, Dr. Rita continued. It said to call them back home instead. Why do you think someone would try to destroy you? The human named Ellie spoke up. What exactly did the warning say? Dr. Rita recited from memory. If you find it, do not attempt to destroy it. You cannot send a recall code. Contact home. That was all Tom needed to ask. Dr. Rita nodded. There was much more information in the recordings, but much has been lost over time. Even with the best preservation methods, data corruption is inevitable. Admiral Turk has been keeping a close eye on the humans. Captain, there are scratches on the hull, likely from a recent battle. What were you fighting? Captain Morgan didn't answer for a moment. Then he looked up at the ceiling. Adam, show me the encounter 3 years ago. A hologram appeared above the table. A blank space was projected. Then a strange darkness moved against the starry backdrop. It wasn't a ship, but something fluid, like a living shadow. The Harbinger fired energy beams strong enough to slice through any normal ship. The darkness absorbed them, then extended long tendrils to wrap around parts of the ship's hull. "Stop the feed," Jack ordered. The hologram froze, revealing the Harbinger's hull burning where the dark tendrils had touched it. "We've been tracking these things for 30 years, Jack said. "We call them Void Eaters. They consume everything. Matter, energy, even light. We destroyed 17. 17, Dr. Rita went white with shock. "After 30 years they become scouts," Mira said. "Little scouts." Admiral Turk felt a chill run down his spine. "Scouts for what?" Jack looked him in the eyes. "That's what we've been trying to find out all this time. And now, after looking at your historical records, I think I understand why Earth sent us here with so many weapons." He paused. "They knew something was coming, something that would destroy all life, and they built the Harbinger to stop it." In the silence that followed, the ship's AI spoke. "Captain, our long-range sensors have detected a new signal. It was the same pattern as the others, but much larger. It was changing course." "What are they heading for?" Jack asked, standing up. "They're heading this way," Adam answered. "They'll be there in 6 days." The Harbinger's command center began to hum. Jack stood at the main control panel, watching Adam predict the path of the approaching Void Eater. "It's 3 times bigger than anything we've encountered so far," Mira said, looking at the display. "And it's going faster." Admiral Turk and his team remained on the human ship. Now they were gathered around the display, each with a look of varying anxiety on their face. "How do you normally fight these creatures?" Turk asked. Tom answered. "The Harbinger's main guns can destroy the energy field. Then we can destroy it with pulse torpedoes. But this is too much for our normal approach," Jack added. "We need a new strategy." Rita's skin had turned a deep purple, a sign of intense concentration. "May I access the logs of previous encounters? Perhaps there's a pattern I've missed." Jack nodded. "Adam, please give Dr. Rita full access to the battle logs." "Yes, Captain," the AI replied. As Dr. Rita began his work, Jack turned to Turk. "Admiral, withdraw your fleet to a safe distance. If this thing gets past us, I cannot guarantee your ship's survival." Turk straightened. "My orders are to investigate the human ship and determine if it poses a threat to Council space. You cannot leave, or you will die here," Mira said bluntly. Tension rose in the room. Just as Jack was about to reply, Rise spoke up from the comm station. "Captain, we are analyzing the recall signal sent from the Council. There is something embedded in it, a data packet you missed." "Let me see it," Jack ordered. Ree's fingers moved quickly across the control panel. A new display appeared, a series of codes only Lai and Adam could understand. "This is old Earth code," Lai explained. "It was military grade, but it was linked to the recall code, and Adam could decipher it." He looked up. "Captain, this is a message from Admiral Cooper himself." The room fell silent. Jack felt his heart beat faster. "Play." The main screen flashed, and an old man's face appeared. He was wearing a military uniform with 5 stars on each shoulder. "Captain Morgan, if you're reading this, the worst has happened," Admiral Cooper said, his voice raspy with age. "Earth has disappeared, or gone silent. Someone has initiated the recall protocol." The Admiral cleared his throat, then continued. "You already know about the Void Eaters, but you do not know why we sent you to fight them. The truth goes deeper than I have told you." The old man's eyes looked tired, but filled with determination. "In the year 2047, our deep space telescopes detected something large moving between the stars. We called it the Devourer. They devour planets, stealing life and resources, then move on. This Void Eater was merely an advanced reconnaissance craft." Jack felt the weight of every word. The Admiral continued. "The Harbinger is more than just a ship, Jack. It is humanity's last hope. Your job is not just to fight the reconnaissance craft, but to find the Void Eaters and destroy them before they reach Earth. But if you're seeing this message, it means your time's up." Admiral Cooper steps closer to the camera. "I'm sorry for lying to you. The truth was too heavy for me to bear at launch. The Harbinger is equipped with a weapon I haven't told you about until now. A weapon that could destroy worlds. Adam has the codes to unlock it." The old man's expression softened. "One last thing. Cryochamber 7 contains 10,000 frozen human embryos. If Earth truly does disappear, you 5 are not just warriors, you are defenders of humanity." The Admiral saluted. "Good luck, Captain. The stars are now in your hands," the message ended. For a while no one spoke. Finally, Jack broke the silence. "Adam, is this true about Cryochamber 7? "Yes, Captain," the AI answered. "This room is sealed with Admiral Cooper's personal code. It will be opened at your command." Jack looked at his crewmates, their faces all looking shocked, angry, and determined. "We are not the last of humanity," Ellie whispered. We are the first. Tom slammed his fist on the console. They lied to us. They sent us here to die fighting something they knew we couldn't win. No, Mira said calmly. We were sent here because we believed we could win this. She looked at Jack. We had no other choice. Admiral Turk stepped forward. Captain Morgan, if what Admiral Cooper said is true, this threat doesn't just concern humanity, but all sentient life in the galaxy. Dr. Rita looked up from her work. I found something in the battle logs. The Void Eaters avoid direct contact with certain elements in their hulls, particularly a rare metal called stellarium. Apparently it disrupts their energy patterns. Stellarium was only discovered when we left Earth, Tom said. We only had enough to coat certain parts of the hull. Dr. Rita's skin rippled with excitement. The Council worlds mine more or less the same element. We call it blue steel. We use it for energy shields. Jack felt the first glimmer of hope. How much do we have? Turk answered. Enough to form a small fleet. Jack turned his attention to the main display. The approaching Void Eaters were steadily advancing. We have 5 days until it arrives. If we can get enough of this blue steel, we might be able to modify the weapon. We need to contact the Council, Turk said. We need to let them know the situation we're facing. Jack nodded. Ray, help me deliver the Admiral's message. He turned to the others. Tom, work with the doctor. Ray, regarding weapons system modifications. Mira, run a combat simulation using the new data. Ellie, he paused. Check cryo chamber 7. Make sure the embryos are still viable. Jack stood alone for a moment as everyone else went about their tasks. The weight of 10,000 lives and potential lives weighed on him. And even more than that, the weight of all life in the galaxy. The meeting of the Galactic Federation Council was chaotic. Holographic images of 17 different species filled the circular room, speaking in unison. Quiet. Elder Vox shouted. The room gradually fell silent. Admiral Turk, continue your report. A holographic image of Turk stood in the center of the room. Human ships have been sent to battle what they call Devourers, beings that devour entire worlds. The Void Eaters we discovered at the edge of our space are just their scouts. And are we supposed to believe them? Asked Advisor Jim. These humans tell us stories of monsters that will appear in 10,000 years and devour worlds. And we just accept it. We have seen their battle records, Turk said firmly. And in 6 days we will see for ourselves as a Void Eater, 3 times larger than any they have faced before, arrives on the edge of the Krell system. This sparked more anxious chatter. When the commotion died down, Elder Vox asked, what do the humans propose? They need all the blue steel we can provide to modify their weapons, which they believe will disrupt the Void Eater's energy field. Counselor Jim laughed. So they're after our most valuable resource. How convenient. A hologram of Dr. Rita appeared next to the Turks. Counselors, I've personally analyzed their combat data. The connection between the stellarium, their blue steel counterparts, and the Boitar's weakness was unmistakable. Elder Vox looked around the room. We must vote. Will we provide blue steel to humanity and join their fight, or will we withdraw our ships and wait for this threat to pass? The room fell silent as each council member considered their choice. Finally, Elder Vox spoke again. Those in favor of an alliance with human. Lights began to appear above the council. 12 in favor, 5 still dark. The council decided. Elder Vox said, send all blue steel to Harbinger. He looked directly at Turk and hoped the stars would protect us, even if we were wrong. Back on the Harbinger, Jack stood in freezer chamber 7, looking at rows of tiny refrigerated containers, each containing the beginnings of human life. They're still alive, Ellie said, checking the numbers. 10,000 in all. Perfect genetic diversity for a new human population. Jack gently touched one of the containers. If we survive another week, Ellie looked at him. We will survive. We have to survive. Jack's comm beeped. It was Ray's voice. Captain, the council agreed. Send all the supplies you can. All right, Jax. Tell Tom to prepare the conversion team. As Jack left, he took one last look at the frozen embryos. They were the future of humanity. I'll protect you, he promised quietly. No matter what. 3 hectic days followed. The Harbinger's vast docking bay was a workshop where humans and aliens worked side by side. Council ships arrived hourly, bringing with them blue steel and workers. Tom moved through the chaos like a man possessed, directing his team with quick gestures and terse words. Under his guidance, the Harbinger's weapons were being modified to take advantage of blue steel's special properties. The torpedoes were ready, he reported to Jack during their hourly meeting. All 50 have been coated with blue steel. The main guns are still being modified. Jack nodded, his eyes red from lack of sleep. How long will it take? At least another day. Energy adjustments are difficult. We only have 2 more days, Jack emphasized. Tom's face hardened. They were ready. Across the room, Mira was training the alien artillerymen on the Harbinger's defense systems. The Council had sent elite fighters to support the human ships. Aim for the center, she instructed her reptilian soldiers. Don't waste your shots on the tentacles. They regenerate too quickly. Admiral Turk entered the command center, followed by Dr. Rita. They both looked as tired as the humans. Captain, Turk said, 3 more ships carrying the blue steel have arrived, and the Council has dispatched the flagship, the Star Defender. All right, Jax. We need all the ships we can get. Dr. Rita stepped forward. Her skin was a pale yellow in the light of the ship. Captain, I've been studying the data from your past encounters, combined with our observations in deep space, she said, placing the data pad on the table, and I think I've found something important. The screen shows a map of the galaxy, with dozens of small red dots, indicating various locations. These are all locations where Void Eaters have been observed over the past 30 years, she explained. But look at this pattern. Jack studied the map. The red dots formed a rough circle, though some were missing. It's circling something, he said slowly. Yes, Dr. Rita agreed, and the circle was getting smaller, with each passing year. She tapped the screen and the circle visibly grew smaller, as the timeline advanced. They're attacking everything in the area, targeting that location. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. Or maybe they were containing it. Ray's voice came over the ship's communication system. Captain, look at this. We're receiving it. A signal from deep space. Something's different. Different in what way? Jack asked. It's not a Void Eater. This pattern is structured like a message. Jack exchanged glances with Turk, then projected it onto the main screen. The large display at the front of the command center lit up in a wave pattern. Unlike the chaotic energy of the E-Void Eater, this signal pulsated in a regular rhythm. Can you decipher it? Jack asked. Ray's fingers danced over the console. He was operating it. The pattern was complex, but there was a mathematical order to it. Just give me a moment. Ellie joined us from the medical bay. Where's it coming from? Dr. Rita checked the gauge. From here, she said, pointing to the center of the circle on the map. From within the containment area. The room was silent, only the faint beeping of a device breaking the tension. Okay, Ray said suddenly. That's a message. He paused, looking up with wide eyes. It was in English. What? Jack's been transferred to Ray's station. How is that possible? I don't know, but it's true. The message repeats every 60 seconds. Ray touched the console. Playing. A voice echoed through the command center. It was a strange, flat voice that didn't sound human. It addressed the ship they had named Harbinger. We have been waiting. Containment is failing. The Devourers are gaining strength. We cannot hold out much longer. Help us finish what our creator started. The message repeated once, and Ray muted it. Who are they? Mira asked. So how do you know about our ship? Jack turned to Adam. Adam, check the database. Are there any records of other ships sent from Earth? Any records on containment? The AI said. Captain, searching. After a short pause, the AI continued. I found a file sealed in the core memory. It was programmed to only unlock if it received a specific signal pattern. And is this that pattern? Jack asked. Yes, Captain. Please open the file. The main screen switched to show an older woman in a lab coat, her white hair pulled back in a tight bun. Captain Morgan, this is Dr. Elizabeth Chen, lead scientist for Project Harbinger. If you're reading this, you've encountered a Guardian. Jack leaned forward. Guardian. The recording continued. Before humanity, before the Council race, there existed a civilization we can only call the Ancients. They first discovered the Devourers over 1 million years ago. They were unable to destroy them, but they managed to contain them using technology beyond our comprehension. Dr. Chen's face hardened. Containment has been malfunctioning for centuries. The Ancients were nearly wiped out, but the survivors maintained the containment field. They contacted Earth 50 years before you were launched. We needed a weapon that could destroy the Devourers once and for all. That's why we built the Harbinger, Jack whispered. Harbinger is equipped with a weapon the likes of which Earth has never built, Dr. Chen said. It's called a Nova Core. It's powerful enough to collapse a star. The ancient people helped design it, but they themselves cannot use it. Their containment field prevents any high-energy weaponry from being activated within. She moved closer to the camera. Captain, your true mission is to rendezvous with the Ancients, break through the containment field at a specific point, and deploy the Nova Core at the heart of the Devourer. The Void Eaters will try to stop you. They're not just scouts, they're antibodies the Devourer has created to protect itself. When the message ended, everyone was stunned into silence. Jack turned to Adam. Is the Nova Core on board? Yes, Captain. It's housed in a sealed chamber beneath the main drive section. We have full blueprints and deployment protocols. Admiral Turk listened with growing anxiety. Captain, do you have a star-shattering weapon? Jack said. Apparently it's intended for use on the Devourer. That's the weapon. Turk paused. There was no way the Council would approve the existence of such a weapon. That must be why Earth didn't tell anyone. Mira said. Earth knew what was at stake. Dr. Lita was working on the equipment. The incoming Void Eaters would reach Earth within. If we waited for them to arrive, we'd be caught up in a defensive battle. Jack looked at a map with a red dot circled in it. We need to change our strategy. We need to head towards the source instead of waiting for it to arrive. He pointed to the center of the circle. We're going to fight the Devourer. That's stupid, Tom said. We're not ready yet. We're not done modifying our weapons, so hurry up, Jack said. The Ancients have been guarding this thing for 1,000,000 years. They need our help. We can't let them down. Ellie stepped forward. What about the unborn child? Bringing the Harbinger into the heart of the Devourer would put everything at risk. Jack thought for a moment. We'll transport it to a Council ship with volunteers to care for it in case we can't return. Admiral Turk straight. I'll inform the Council of the change of plan. They won't like it, but they'll understand the need. Jack stared at the map as the others began to prepare. The red dot seemed to pulse menacingly. Adam, he said quietly. Show me Nova War. A new image appeared on his personal screen. A smaller device than he expected. A shiny metal sphere with a strange pattern covering its surface. Would it really be powerful enough to destroy the Devourer? The specifications, Captain, say it would produce an energy wave comparable to a supernova explosion, but contained within a directional field. No known weapon would be able to withstand it. Jack stared at the image. But what about us? Would we survive this deployment? Adam was silent for a moment. The deployment protocols include an escape plan, Captain, but we've calculated that the success rate is less than 20. Jack nodded slowly. The odds are better than we expected. He closed the screen. Prepare the Nova Core for deployment, Adam. Launch in 12 hours, the captain told the AI. As Jack walked toward the docking bay to help with preparations, he couldn't help but think of the 10,000 frozen embryos, the future of humanity, and the billions of alien lives that depended on their success. In any case, the Harbinger's 10,000-year mission was drawing to a close. It hurtled through space like a dark arrow, its massive engines propelling it faster than any ship in the Council fleet. Behind it followed 7 other alien ships, their hulls gleaming with pristine blue steel armor. On the bridge, Jack watched the stars drift by in a blur. In 12 hours they reached the edge of what Dr. Rita had named the containment zone, where the Ancients had kept the Devourers contained for 1,000,000 years. Captain, said Ree from his seat, we're receiving another message from within the zone. Same source as before. Let them through, Jack ordered. The strange, flat voice echoed on the bridge again. Harbinger, the containment field is weakening. Opening a passage at these coordinates. You only have one chance to enter. The Devourer knows you are coming. They are sending all remaining Void Eaters to intercept you. Ree looked up. Coordinates and time information were sent back. How many Void Eaters do you think there are? Mira asked, checking the weapons reading. Our sensors are detecting 17 separate energy signatures heading our way. Adam replied, all matching the Void Eater pattern. The largest is twice the size of any we've encountered so far. Jack turned to Admiral Turk, who had chosen to remain on the Harbinger. Is the fleet ready? The blue-blooded alien nodded. We are as prepared as we can be. The captains understand the plan. It was a simple but dangerous one. The Council ships would engage the Void Eaters while the Harbinger, its human crew and the Nova Core would breach the containment field. If all goes well, they'll encounter the Ancients, deploy their weapons and escape before the explosion. If all goes well, the captain said as Ellie entered the bridge. The embryo transfer is complete. All 10,000 containers are safely on board the Council medical ship. And the volunteers, asked Jack. 20 Council scientists are with them. They're the best in their fields. Jack nodded. Humanity's future was as safe as they could be. Tom's voice came over the comm. From the engine room to the bridge, the Nova Core was being loaded onto the deployment platform. Final checks completed. Good job, Jack said, Come back. I want everyone on the bridge. As his companions gathered around him, Jack felt a strange sense of peace. 10,000 years ago, Earth had sent them on this mission, knowing they might never return. Now on the brink of the unknown, they were about to complete that mission. I'm not a very vocal person, Jack said, looking at the last 4 remaining companions, but I want to say it was an honor to serve with you all. Hold back your parting words, Captain, Mira said with a small smile. I'm not dead yet, and I don't plan on dying, Tom added. Ray nodded. A 20% chance of survival means 1 in 5 will survive. There are 5 of us, so statistically the odds aren't that good, Ellie said with a laugh. Jack smiled. 30 space years or 10,000, depending on how you count it. They were more than his crew, they were his family. Void Eaters approaching, Adam announced. 17 minutes to contact. Jack straightened up. Battle positions. All Council ships, defensive positions, ready to engage. The bridge was buzzing with activity as everyone moved to their positions. Jack sat in his captain's chair, feeling the pressure of command settle upon his shoulders once again. Let's finish this. What has begun? He said quietly. The battle erupted in a blinding flash of energy. The Void Eaters closed in like a wave of darkness, their tentacles reaching for the ship, but this time, the Council fleet was ready. Blue steel armor deflected the Void Eaters' deadly attacks. Modified weapons sliced through their shadowy body. For the first time, the creatures seemed to hesitate, as if sensing something had changed. Harbinger fired its main guns repeatedly and advanced. The Void Eaters scattered before Harbinger, but the largest moved to block its path. I know, Jack said, watching the creature's movement. It knows what we're carrying. Arm the big one with all its weapons, Mira ordered. Harbinger shuddered with all its might and unleashed everything it had. The great Void Eater writhed as it was impaled by the bluish energy, but it didn't shatter like the smaller one. It's too late, Mira reported. A different approach was needed. Admiral Turk stepped forward. Captain, leave this to my ship. Proceed to the coordinates. Jack hesitated, then nodded. Full throttle. Breathe. The Council fleet converged on the massive Void Eater and began firing in a coordinated pattern. The monster's attention was divided, giving Harbinger an opening. Now, Jack shouted. The massive human ship advanced, slipping past Voider's weakened defenses. Behind it, the fighting continued, but ahead was the edge of the containment zone, a faintly gleaming barrier against the starry sky. Ray reported they were approaching the coordinates. The passage should open within 30 seconds. Slow down by half, Jack ordered. Be prepared for anything. As they watched, a section of the barrier thinned, revealing a tunnel-like space. That's our door, Jack said. Just let us in slowly. The Harbinger moved forward and entered the tunnel. For a moment the ship shook, and energy surged through it. The containment field is scanning us, Adam said. It matched the pattern of ancient Earth transmissions, and they passed through, the tunnel closing behind them. Inside the containment zone, space looked different. The stars were dimmer, and strange patterns of light moved in the darkness. Ahead, a small asteroid floated in space, its surface covered in shining, crystal-like structures. We're being called, Ray said. Same source as before. On the screen, Jack commanded. The image that appeared was not what anyone had expected. The being appeared nearly human, but not quite. Tall and thin, its eyes oversized, its skin seemingly glowing from within. Harbinger, the being said, its mouth perfectly synchronized with the word. I am the Keeper, the last of the Guardians. We have been waiting a long time for your arrival. Jack stepped forward. I have received your message. I am here to complete what my ancestors started. The being nodded. The Devourer was growing restless. It sensed your weapon. We must act quickly. Where are they? Jack asked. The large eyes of the Devourer's guardian blinked slowly below. Always below. The image changed, revealing what appeared to be a vast ocean, but instead of water there was darkness moving with purpose. The Devourer came to our world 1,000,000 years ago, the Keeper explained. We contained it, but we could not destroy it. It consumes energy, matter, and even time. The more it consumes, the more it desires. And now the containment has failed, Jack said. That's right, we don't have enough people right now. We need life energy to maintain the field. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. Life energy? The essence that powers all living things. We've been giving life energy for generations. Now I'm the only one left. Jack and his companions exchanged glances. No wonder the ancients couldn't use Nova All. They had sacrificed everything to contain the Devourer. We need to get the Nova Core to the heart of this thing, Jack said. Can you guide us? I can, Keeper, but you need to understand that if we deploy the core, nothing inside the containment field will survive. That includes your ship. I understand the risks, Jack said. We are ready. A look of what could be described as sadness crossed Keeper's reddened face. Then proceed. Get the ship back to the surface. I'll meet you there. The communication ended. Jack turned to his crew. This is your last chance to change your mind. We'll send the ship automatically. Take the escape pods and return to the fleet. You can't do this, Mira said quickly. We started this together, Tom said. Let's finish this together. Ellie nodded. 10,000 years is a good number for humanity. Let's cherish these years, as they say, Ray added with a small smile. Jack felt a surge of pride rise in his chest. Adam, accept us. We will present this devourer with humanity's final gift to the universe. Harbinger descended into the crystalline structures on the asteroid's surface. As it approached, they could see that many of the structures were damaged or darkened. Only a few still had any internal light. Near the largest structure, a Soith landing site, cleared of debris, awaited them. Harbinger landed gently on the ancient world. The atmosphere was breathable. Ellie reported as she checked her sensors. Gravity was slightly weaker than normal on Earth. Prepare the Nova ore for transport, Jack ordered. Now let's go meet the last of the ancients. As the 5 humans set foot on the surface of the asteroid belt, they knew they were making history, even if it would go unrecorded. Here, at the end of everything, humanity would make its final stand, and in the sickbay of a far-off council ship, 10,000 human embryos await the birth of new life. Humanity's true legacy to the stars.